you're someone, I feel like when we have conversations, I can talk pretty easily with you. We like each other's company and like to talk to each other, but we don't really hang out that much. So I think when we would see each other, we'd really just try to like get into a serious conversation pretty quick, just because we are friends and feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there aren't, so many people that I don't have a lot of the conversations I have with you, I don't have with a lot of other people, to be honest, which is cool. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah. It's good to have friendship where you have unique conversations with someone that you feel like you don't typically engage in with other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always really appreciated, I appreciated a lot of things about our friendship, but particularly, especially those years making Shit Show, just like how much you were interested in being part of it and like how much you like committed to what I would give you.
Thanks.
And, just like you were great with when it was scripted, taking my script and acting it out, making it funny. And, putting your own little additions to it or staying to the script. And then, of course, all the times where there's no script, filling it in a way that I'm fucking loving. And, just bouncing back ideas.
I would just try to make you guys laugh too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you can make the other people that you're working with laugh, especially if they're like behind the camera, because I know it fucks it up, but it still feels good. So like,
yeah. And that's another thing I've appreciated, those moments where you were willing to fill in behind the camera, because I know like us as art type, like we mostly want to be in front of it, and
of course,
doing that kind of thing. But I feel like I've never gotten to properly thank you for the effort that you've put in.
You're welcome. And I loved every minute of it, man. It was cool because I just, at the time, I had my nature as a creative person and a performer and an artist, whatever. I think I just kind of really didn't accept that part of me, and until I was like, about 30 years old, when I really started doing comedy and acting and whatever. So I feel like it helped me, because I feel like I was almost making up for lost time, for lack. I mean, if that's not the right way to frame it, but so I was just so happy to be able to perform and all the different weird shit. And you're a great director, dude. I mean, just from my limited experience working with people, I think you, from what you read about director, whatever, I read a lot about filmmaking and whatnot, and I have an interest in filmmaking. I make I'm a filmmaker myself, but I was definitely inspired by you. And as far as you as a director, you always know what you want. And that's kind of cliche, but it's so fucking true. It's like you are like have an idea and you know what you're going for there, but then you're also open to improvising. And when it comes down to it, I think you have like a final say or an idea. And I think that's for me, I thought it was really helpful. And then, especially in like this space where it's like not amateur, but it's not professional because no one's getting paid, but we're all, talented and passionate people or whatever. But we're kind of all growing together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in that space, I've worked with some other filmmakers, and most people, they just like, they don't really think about it. You know what I mean? And I think, I was inspired because you're just making all this shit. And I was like, most people, like before that, I had done a few student films and worked on some things with people, and like, and never saw shit, and it never would get finished. That's the classic thing, right? How many, you do all these things and people just never.
Yeah.
I mean, would be like, fuck, a week later, there's some fun. You know what I mean?
But not to say, there have been times where I haven't finished a thing. And I mean, those things, I try to do that as little as possible because it's personally devastating to like, even with something like that Christ Fit sketch, I'm bummed I never fucking finished that. That would have been so fun. And then of course, like all the projects we've like talked about that we never did, like even that is a little bit like stomach churning to me.
I wonder about all the funny ideas that we had that we forgot about.
Right. And then like, yeah, that last film, Black Hole, that like I actually made significant progress and put like a significant amount of money into, and didn't get to finish it. That one's really devastating to me, and I haven't really made an effort to make a legit film since then. And I feel like I have this pressure building up to do that, but like also at the same time, the longer I wait, the more I'm like, it better be real fucking good.
Yeah.
You know? But the one thing I wanted to say about what you were describing about knowing what I want, but then you kind of were like, you know, there's these moments where like, you know exactly what you want, but then there's room to improvise and like add to it. And, you know, it depends on the project too. Some it's like much more open, where it's like, we got to figure everything out, and I kind of know what I want.
Yeah.
Or it's like, no, I know exactly everything, every inch of the way, what I want.
Yeah.
But like, I think the middle hybrid thing kind of is that, where it's, I know a lot of what I want, but then there's these blank areas where my brain has not decided anything specific. I just know like the spine of the thing. And that's why it's really important. You said that word professional, and I've had like, that was a major theme in my feuds with that actress shooting Black Hole, was she would question the professionalism of me. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't like personally identify as professional. In fact, if you really like start to dig into what my philosophy is with making this kind of art, it's very anti-professional. It's like the things that I could do to make this environment feel more corporate and more professional and respectful to one another. I don't do that, because when you start to do that, it starts to feel, again, more like a corporate work environment. It starts to feel like work, and that you're on a professional, like, ooh, better be on my best behavior and behave a certain way kind of environment, where it's like, no, I want this to feel like it's friends hanging out in the room making fucking abstract paintings together.
I like that too.
And I think that's why I typically try to avoid casting processes or bringing in anyone, whether it's behind the camera or in front of it, who I'm not already friends with. Because the times I've gone out of that, it almost always creates some sort of awkward not to say there have been some times I've just gone on a whim, like the actress I worked with for Zygo, Emily Gomez. She that was my first time meeting her. She rolled with it and did really well. And I even think kind of the awkwardness of not knowing her before.
Was she the lead?
She's the lead. Yeah, she was the lead. And the little bit of like natural awkwardness of not knowing this person before, I think contributed to the energy of that film. Yes, because it was a very uncomfortable film.
Yeah. I like it a lot. I think it's your best thing that you've made. But you like all your shit. I like Doggo too. And that thing's such a monster.